Hello and welcome to another episode of Diet Culture Can Fork Off. I don't know why I said that so loud then. I think I'm just getting out. It's because, you know what, being sat here talking to people around the skinny trend coming back. So I think I'm in that kind of mood today. So we're going to flow with that. That's how we're doing it. Anyway, if you don't know me already, I am Becky and I help women who are done with the diets, done with the cycles, done with starting again every Monday and finally sort out their relationship, food and their body for good. And that's not through another plan, not through like chasing numbers, but actually working on your actual life and breaking down what diet cultures hold. Basically getting to the real stuff underneath. I love getting like down and unpicking all the deep-rooted stuff. So I work with women through my one-to-one Empower coaching or through my Misfit Club, which is my 6-week group coaching. And today, actually, this is what I want to talk about, what coaching actually looks like with me, because most people may not know what online coaching actually is, or they have a rough idea, or they've had an experience before in the past. But I want to go through actually what it's like to work with me, because I do work very differently to a lot of coaches out there. And for most people that may have had online coaching before in the past, or what you may think it is, may be very different to what I actually do. And I really wanted to talk through exactly what it is and why it's so impactful for the women that work with me. So most people think online coaching just means someone sends you like a meal plan, a workout, maybe through a PDF, like check-ins with you every Monday and just like ask how many steps you did, check your calories, and try and keep you accountable and work through those things. And as well as that can work, I wouldn't necessarily call that coaching, okay? Because coaching is actually helping people discover what's been holding them back. And you do that through asking questions and guiding someone along the way. So really, if you are just getting like the meal plan, the workout PDF, there's nothing wrong with that if that helps. That's not to say that, but it's not coaching and it's not what I do. That's just someone that manages your numbers. Like, it's not actually someone working with you. That makes sense. And honestly, I really get why people think that it's like it is that way, because it is most online coaching, to be honest. Like most online PTs, that's what they do. Not all. I work. I'm in groups with some amazing coaches that work with different ways. But for some out there, it is this kind of macro check-ins, the spreadsheets, or even on an app. But it's very generic. It's very like one size fits all. And honestly, I've had some stories as well where people have told coaches and stuff there, things that they struggle with and stuff, but it gets ignored. It doesn't get listened to, because they have this idea of what that ideal client should be, and that they just stick to it. And if they don't stick to it, then they don't have enough discipline and blah, 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 which is absolute bullshit, by the way, because if you can't stick to something, that means something else is going on in the background. And that's the stuff that I dive into with my clients. If you're not doing that, then you're not a coach, in my opinion. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? But it's true, because coaching means you're actually coaching someone through it, and you're getting into the deep and finding out what's happening underneath. So, the whole thing about just like checking in with your weights, with your how many reps you're doing, I don't know, in the gym, like checking in with your calories, setting you a plan. That's what most people think online coaching is. Zero interest in like why you might be finding things hard, why you might get stuck, why motivation drops, why you eat the way that you do. Like, that's that's missing with this kind of coaching and online coaching. So why that actually fails most people, and if you're someone that has tried that before and you're like, actually, yeah, that's me, that's what I thought online coaching was, and I've tried that before, or if you just had an idea if that's what you thought it was, and why it doesn't work is because it just seeing you as a person that can just do these things and stick to these things. And some of these coaches and PTs, like, they've never struggled with this stuff, so they don't understand why people just can't do it because they find it easy. And I've seen it time and time again. I've actually seen the coaching group I'm in, he's been posting up some videos of other coaches basically tearing their clients apart, saying like, oh, if you can't stick to this, then you're an uncoachable client. You are not an uncoachable client, by the way. It means that they just they don't have the tools or the skills to be able to help you through the blockers that's currently impacting you. And that's nothing on you. And it's, you know, I hate that kind of thing, like saying, it's happened to one of my clients as well. She got told she's uncoachable. She's with me now, she's thriving. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, but for most women that I work with, like, it's not the eating that's the problem. And most of it is like, they do eat healthy meals and they know what to eat and they know what to do, but it's the emotional side, or they have a stressful life, or things come up why they struggle with certain things. Emotional eating, like their motivations drop because they're running around on empty all day. Like, there's so many other things to consider. Like, also the diet culture conditioning, obviously, like, it can be control, and having to count your calories like to a T, and even having to submit that to someone to overlook. It can be very daunting, because it's all about this control and feeling like you're doing everything wrong, and this self like worth being tied to it as well, because you're feeling like, if I can't stick to it, there's something wrong with me. And this is what happens with these plans. I see it all the time in my DMs, like someone, you know, on their, I don't know, 5th, 10th coaching program, their meal plan, and they're still feeling stuck, they're still feeling miserable, they're like got to the point where they're like, nothing works for me, and still just kind of white knuckling it through another Monday. And it's not because they're not trying hard enough. Like, a lot of the women I speak to, a lot of women, they want it, the desire to want it is there, but it's just that no one has ever helped them touch the stuff that's actually underneath, actually what is like making you feel stuck. Like, why? It's not about like, I have speak to so many women in my days, it's, I lack motivation, I'm lazy. You're not. Think about all the things that you do. Most of the women I speak to are like, they're career minded, or they've got great jobs, or they're running around after family, they're looking after loved ones. That is not a lazy person. That's someone that's like running around after everyone else and putting herself at the bottom of the list. That's someone that needs to understand how to maybe prioritize, or maybe find those snippets in the day to look after herself, how they can actually manage to get that energy back, and that love for themselves back, that respect for yourself back. You know, these things that crop up time and time again has nothing to do that you don't want it hard enough, or you're not trying hard enough. It's because you're not working through those mindset blockers, as I call them. So that's what you actually need to do differently. Like, when I speak to my clients, or when I speak to people in the DMs that are interested in coaching, I have a very holistic approach, okay? You can't just look at the food, and you can't just look at exercise. You need to look at the mindset as well, because you know what to do. Of course you do. Like, we've been, especially if you're like 30, 40, 50, you know, you've been drummed in all your life, like, this is how you eat healthy. This is how you exercise. Yeah, that's no problem at all. You know what to do, but you're struggling to stick at it, and you're struggling to actually do it sometimes. That's not a problem that a meal plan's going to fix. That's not a problem that an exercise is going to fix. And it's not a problem that a coach telling you to just be more disciplined and you just need to do it, otherwise otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. That's not helpful. Yeah, I know I need to do it. Okay, but how? You know, let's get, like, that's what's getting into the underneath. Like, for a lot of my clients, it can be like a limiting belief, a belief that they believe they can't do it, especially if they've tried over and over again with different approaches. Maybe it's like, you've always been told that, like, I don't know, like, you were the fat kid at school, and that's a narrative that you learned. And it's like, well, if I always believe, you know, if you constantly telling yourself that you're the fat kid, that's a belief that can actually be holding you back. If you believe that you don't have the time for things, but actually you're not delegating, or you're creating, and I do it as well, procrastinating like around things to make yourself look busy. This is probably one of my limiting beliefs that I constantly have to work on. So, that it's that stuff. The stuff that's like, actually, I feel lost and I don't know who my identity is. If you're telling yourself that I'm not the type of person that does this, I'm not a morning person. I'm not the type of person that gets up in the morning and goes to the gym. I'm not the type of person that does this exercise thing. That again is a story that you're telling yourself that could be holding you back. So rather than just saying, just do it, which is not coaching, it's asking the questions as to why you're finding things hard. Why? What happens in your day? Why do you feel that way when you go into the gym? When you get up in the morning, what's happening? What's the story you're telling yourself? These are the things that I dive into with my clients, because this is my empower method, and it goes way beyond that. It's like, okay, binge eating, maybe press the fuck it button on the weekend. Why do you press the fuck it button? It's because you had a stressful week. Is it because you're not regulating your emotions? Is it because you don't know how to regulate your emotions? Which is something I help with. But this is why I wanted to do this podcast, to explain a little bit more about what I do, because there are so many coaches out there that don't claim to be coaches, but they're not doing this. And there's some great coaches as well out there, not just me, that are not just me, got to pick myself up, but there are other coaches out there that are doing this style of coaching, which is proper coaching. That's why it's so important that you make sure that you research and you connect to the people that you feel are going to get you there. Look at their testimonials, look at what they're doing, ask them, how do they work? Get them to explain it to you. Because not just on the mindset side as well, the movement as well. Let's talk about, so I talked about the food there, but the exercise as well. You need to understand, most women that growing up in diet cultures, movement has been for punishment, what you ate, or making up for it, or knowing you're going to eat later, so making up for it that way, this kind of exchange. Working through that is not tied to a number on the screen. You're not gonna, it's working for, okay, why do I need to feel like I need to exchange this energy? Why do I feel like I need to earn my food? Again, working through that mindset side. Food as well isn't some kind of checklist. And I know some kids food is fuel. Yes, it is fuel. But we can't deny that we have an emotional attachment to food as well. Because sometimes food is going to be the thing that makes us feel better. And why should we feel shit about that? I enjoy chocolate, in the evening. I enjoy something sweet in an evening. And because I don't need it, but it makes me feel good. I'm not binging on it. But why do we have to make... we've already had diet culture making us feel shit about food. So, understanding that sometimes it's okay to have that food. It's also cultural. It's connection. It's about going out on a date night. It's about connecting with the girls over brunch or something, having a birthday cake with maybe your kid. Why should that you be made to feel bad about that? So this isn't about managing food and counting every single morsel. This is about understanding about food, its place in your life, the value it has, the fact that it doesn't have morality, but it might bring other things. But this is what I'm talking about. It's the relationship, basically, the relationship with food and your body. And that's the bit generic coaches skip. They skip it completely. All those bits there, the asking the question, diving into it, looking at your identity, looking at your values, they don't dive into any of that. I always say that my coach is a bit like therapy. It's I'm not a therapist. I stay in my lane. A lot of my clients have had therapy before, or they have therapy alongside, and we work on these things together. But my difference is it's not a session every week. I actually have resources and tools, and I message you throughout the week that you have constant access to things that you need when you need them, not having to wait for a week for a call or something. You have access to it as and when you need, which is really, really important to me. Because if you someone that presses the fuck it button on the weekend, guess what? I've got a tool for that you can dive into on the weekend when I'm having my little downtime. So you've always got something there to help you through it. That's why it's so important to me. So I guess this is what it does actually look like in practice as well to work with me. It's not handing you over a plan and then disappearing for a week. it's a conversation. Like, I push back, I ask questions to people, maybe questions that they haven't been asked before, like why they feel like the need to earn rest. Where does that come from? Where was it learned? Or why the number on the scale gets to decide how their day goes. Why does that number mean anything? What does that number actually mean? Were you ever that number before? What was going on in your life when that was happening? Because most of the time it's emotional. It's not actually about the number. It's about what we perceive that number to mean, or like from our past, like did it mean something in the past? Like when I was 8 stone, I'm just making this up, like in that point in my life, was I actually happy? Or how was I feeling? And why am I chasing that number? Is it about the happiness that I was feeling at that moment in time? Or actually, am I chasing a number because I think it makes me happy, but actually I was fucking miserable when I was chasing that number. I was very miserable, so that. Very miserable when I was chasing that number. But that's what we dive into, because it's rarely about, and that's what I do with my goal setting as well. It's not about like SMART goals, because to be honest, they can get in the bin. I don't feel like they like help you understand your goals, if that makes sense. Like, okay, you want to lose weight, but why? That's what I like to get into. What does that actually mean to you? If you want to lose weight, it's not about the weight, if that makes sense. Again, it's about how you show up in life. It might be like, well, if I lose weight, I'll be able to run around after my kids more. I'll be able to go and do that hike that I've always wanted to do. I can go and like do horse riding that I've always wanted to do. I can go off and do my adventures. Like, that's what it actually means. And that's the questions that I ask and get into, because when that motivation drops, and it will, because it's a finite resource and we shouldn't rely on it, these are the questions that we go back to. And these are the things that get you excited and like, yes, that's why I'm doing it. I want to go and, I don't know, abseil down a cliff. I don't know. I'm scared of heights, so I've done it. I have done it. I've put myself in my, like, got out of my comfort zone and done shit like that. But what I mean is, we need to understand like why that's going on. So, like, I always find, obviously, when people come to me, they're feeling quite emotional, and like, that's just why I always have a consultation call with my people that want to join one-to-one. One, because I feel like it needs to be a good fit, and two, I really, really want to make sure that we're on the same wave and I can actually help you. And you need to make sure that you actually get on with me as well and make sure it's a good fit, because when it is, like, that's when we can really dive into it. Like, you'll feel safe to open up to me. I'll know I can have an understanding of you and where you are at, and I know how to help you more. And that's why those calls are so important to me. I'll never sign up anyone on to one-to-one without having a conversation first. That is like, and that's why. Because it needs to be a good fit. We need to get on, and we need to make sure it is the right direction for you as well. Because my coaching isn't for everyone. Of course it isn't. But let's make sure that it is the right direction for you. I always find as well because I work in like stage start. The first week you're with me, I do have an onboarding week. I work with a lot of busy women, and the last thing you want is bombarded with information all in one go. So it's all like, I'm very thorough with things, by the way. I don't like feeling lost. So my coaching is very much like that. So I'll say, from the day you sign up, welcome pack explains what to expect in your first 4 weeks, like laid out. My first week is an onboarding week, so you'll get what to expect each day, how to set yourself up, and then we'll have like our first call. And those first couple of weeks, I always find like, so exciting, because I see people go from, I'm scared, I don't know if this is for me, to like, I'm so excited now, I've got the information, I'm ready to go. And then each week we start unpacking a bit more, like whatever comes up in the week, and like unfurling it and understanding like what is going on. But each week it gets a bit deeper, and that's what I love. It's more that you build that trust up with me, and the more we have conversations, the more we can dive deeper into it. People do, like, you know, it gets quite emotional sometimes on those calls, I won't deny, but I'm a big fan of actually having calls for my one-to-one clients. one-to-one coaching, like it needs to be a conversation. I need to be able to go and ask you those questions that I've talked about. And it does get emotional. People do cry. People do get upset. Some people have spent their whole life putting themselves down or not being able to see their progress. That I'm here going like, look at what you're talking about. Look at everything you've done. You've achieved this, this, and this. Because I guess as well, like diet culture's taught us to want very fast results, where the way I'm working is like to create sustainable results for the rest of your life. So that's about those small steps and the small little things that you implement on a day, which when you're in it, it can be hard to see. And again, that's why a lot of people get stuck in cycles, or they lose their momentum or motivation when they're on their own, because they're like, well, I'm not seeing any results. Results might not be physical straight off. Results, and in my experience, a lot of the results and the progress comes mentally, especially first. Like, understand, like going, oh, I didn't spiral after that bad day at work. Oh, I didn't press the fuck it button on the weekend. Like the little things like that. Oh, I managed to like set myself some boundaries, and I managed to like, I finished work on time, and I'm not taking my homework with me. I'm not spiraling every evening. I've got my energy back. I'm sleeping better. Like these things matter. Not, that doesn't come from a, crossing off like workouts and tracking all your fucking calories, or like watching all the progress on numbers. No, this is the stuff that we need to focus on. And that's why I, as mentioned a few times, I don't actually focus on numbers in my coaching. In my weekly check-in forms, it's like, what are your 3 non-numeric wins each week? Non-numeric, okay? But even if a client does have like, it's closely based on numbers, it's usually not the actual win. It's because what that actually meant behind it, if that makes sense. So again, it's like, I want to focus on how you feel, the confidence, your sparkle back. That's what this is about. So that's the work I actually do. Okay? Breaking diet culture, feeling fucking good in yourself, like confident. And with that, yes, people do lose weight, or I've had some clients that have been the other way. They've wanted to put on weight because they've been the other way of diet culture. But clients do change body composition, but they're doing it while focusing on actually living their life and breaking away from diet culture. It is absolutely possible, but once you remove that focus, and do you know what, one of the biggest things to me as well is like, I've had clients struggling with the scale weight, and sometimes when they leave the coaching, like, I don't even care what the scale says anymore because I feel amazing. And I'm like, that's it, that's what it's about. I don't even weigh myself. I don't know how much I weigh. I guesstimate. I can guess. It's usually roughly right. But I don't need that. I don't need the ties of those numbers anymore. Anyway, I could talk about it. I get so lit up talking about my coaching because I'm so passionate about what I do. And I hope that comes across on my social media, because I try, and obviously I talk a lot about diet culture and breaking it down, but this is actually what goes on behind the scenes when I'm actually coaching. So if you are done, like if you've done the generic coaching thing, like the whole meal plan, the macros, the Monday check-in, and it didn't stick, it is not you. It is that model. Like, you were never the problem. It's just that system is completely the wrong thing for you. Because when you've been stuck in this diet culture, we need to unpack what's going on actually underneath, okay? Like, fuck diet culture, honestly. Like, we need to, like, fuck that version of coaching that diet culture, like, just doesn't land if you've been struggling with these things. So if any of this is landing, if you're stuck, even in this kind of generic coaching, if you're stuck because you're like, I don't know what fucking works for me anymore, then, let's deal with the stuff that's underneath, because that's what's actually missing. Come and find me, because I can actually help. So links in the bio. I'll put, in my Instagram bio, you can find all my links, but I'll also drop them below. Come and say hi. Even if it's just exploring and a conversation, I'm not going to pressure you into signing up. Don't worry, that's not my style. But if you've got questions, if you want to explore like what it actually looks like, what it could actually look like for you, like even on the calls that I have, there's no pressure at all, because I want you to be ready when you sign up. I want you to be, yep, this is for me, and I don't want to pressure you into that, because I know I can help you, but you need to take that step yourself. I will hear from you very soon.